Howdy readers, I'm Jason. This is Chapter and Verse, and it is Tuesday evening. I come to you tonight with an original book tag. Okay, this is going to be called the book club tag. The book club tag. Just once, not twice. And we'll just jump right in. Number one, explain the name of your book club. Okay. So my book club is called the Eclectic Shade Tree. It's been around since 2002. So when I was 18, 19, 20 years old, I was really good friends with a guy named Rob. And Rob and I dreamed of having our own little independent bookstore someday. We could see it in our minds. It was this kind of lovely little pipe dream. We were inspired, I think, by our love of this little independent bookstore at the time. It's not around anymore. But at the time, there was this little place in Cheyenne where we were living called Chiefly Books. And just this little used bookstore that was magnificent. It had that smell of decomposing paper. It was wonderful. It was run by a guy named Don Patterson. Whenever we walked in, he would always offer us tea. He'd always have a coffee pot of tea brewing. And bought a lot of books in there. Rob and I dreamed of owning this little independent bookshop, and we were going to call this little bookstore the Eclectic Shade Tree. So the name just stuck with me, and in 2002 when I started the book club with my brother, that's what we called it. Number two, how long have you been a member? And how many members does your club currently have? So like I said, I was a charter member. I was one of the first handful of members in the club. So I've been a member for 16 years. The club currently has, as far as active participating members go, I don't know, let's see, me, Kelly, Amy, Paul, Dylan, Jay, Alex, probably forgetting somebody. There's probably 8 of us right now who are active. And then we've got a couple of kind of peripheral members, people who've been active in the past but who aren't currently, but are still kind of in the fold, and may become active again in the future. But right now we've probably got 8 or 9. I'd say 9 at most. 7 to 9 members currently. Number 3, describe a typical book club meeting. Okay, so we meet online. We've got a private forum. People read the book within the time frame allotted. People read the book at their leisure. They post on the book at their leisure. And then sometimes we comment on each other's posts. Sometimes we don't. But that's kind of how it works. Occasionally, in the past, we've gotten together for meetings. Back in the days when a handful of us, like half the book club, lived in the same city, we would get together and have proper book club dinners and play board games. And, we would theme the dinners after the book we were reading. We read Memoirs of a Geisha, which I couldn't stand. We had Japanese food and sake, and my brother got wildly drunk on sake that night. He can't drink sake anymore because of that night. He can't even smell it, I don't think, without getting sick. We only read fiction. We only read fiction 500 pages or less. If a book is 300 pages or under, we get 1 month to read it. If it's 300 to 500 pages, we get 2 months to read it. And then we just post on the book in question as we finish it. Number 4, how do you choose your books? Okay, so here is sort of where we diverge from many book clubs. We do not vote on the books. This is not book club selection by committee or anything like that. We take turns. The principal reason that we do that is so that everybody's tastes are represented in the book club. So we have people in the club who are big historical fiction fans, people in the club who are big literary fiction fans, people in the club who are big science fiction and fantasy fans. By doing it this way, the club is properly eclectic, and as you'll see later in the in the tag just how eclectic our reading selection has been. So taking turns also means that everyone is required to finish and post on the books. All right. I sort of give everybody one free pass each cycle, sort of an unwritten rule. But on the whole, everybody is required to finish the book and post on the book. And the reason that we do that is, so why on earth should a person get to choose a book and expect other people to read it and write about it if that person is unwilling to do so for others? And so it's really about reciprocity, and it's about broadening our horizons. And the thing is, yes, some of the books suck. Some of them do. But like I said in an earlier video, reviewing, whether you're making a video about it or writing a review, writing a post, reviewing a bad book, man, that can be fun, right? Our most memorable reviews from the last 16 years have almost invariably been for the really bad books. The review of Joe Haldeman's Camouflage that was written by my friend Ben was so much better than Joe Haldeman's novel. And if Ben had decided not to finish Camouflage, we never would have had that review. And then if members make a habit of not participating, I show them the door. No hard feelings, right? The book club just wasn't for them. There will be a book club somewhere else that will be. Number 5. Has your book club taken any literary trips together or attended any literary events together? So the one thing that we did, and we did this for the 15th anniversary last year, and it's the only time we've read nonfiction in the club, is so Timothy Egan came to the University of Wyoming to speak at the, I think it was the UW Libraries Foundation fundraiser dinner, did a reading in the afternoon, and then spoke at the dinner that night. And a number of us from the book club, and because we're online, we're far-flung. Just absolutely far-flung. And but a number of us converged on Laramie, Wyoming. Some of us from Casper, some from Cheyenne, but also people from Washington State. Amy and Christian both came out from Washington State for that. And and we all got to hang out with Timothy Egan, got our picture taken with him. Yeah, and everybody read the Timothy Egan book of their choice. So we read different titles by him. That was a lot of fun. Number 6, what is the best book your club has read? So that would be Independent People by Haldor Laxness, in my opinion. And yes, this one was my choice. Number 7, what is the worst book your club has read? So that would be a tie between the only 2 self-published novels that we have read in the book club. And they were ghastly. They were just utterly ghastly. One was called Another Man's Poison, and the other was called A Woman Warrior Born. Part of me wishes I had the hours back it took to read those books. But, on the other hand, writing the reviews of them, again, was a lot of fun. What book is your club reading currently? So right now, we are reading The Tsar of Love and Techno by Anthony Mara. It says it's a collection of short stories, but I feel like the consensus so far is that it's actually a novel. I would agree with that. I've got about 90 pages left. Number 9, how has your book club evolved over time? So it's always been online, primarily. Kind of supplemented with these little meetings that I've talked about. We first ran the club as a Yahoo group for a long, long time. Maybe the first 12 years of the book club. And then maybe more, actually. And then we moved it to Goodreads. And so it's run as a Goodreads secret group right now. So you can't even sort of access it without an invitation from me. How else have we evolved over time? Members come and go, right? So we've had some people who were members for a number of years, and then sort of life intervenes, right? Like maybe they have a child, or maybe they go to back to school, something like this. And so they sort of dip out of the book club for a few years. And then sometimes they come back as well, which is always nice. And then a few years back, maybe 4 years ago, my friend Dylan joined the book club. And Dylan's a graphic designer. And Dylan designed a logo for us. And it's absolutely freaking brilliant. So I suppose those are some of the kind of evolutions of the club, right? Moving from Yahoo to Goodreads, eventually getting a logo. And then, but the one constant has been and will continue to be, I think, just how eclectic our reading has been over the last 16 years. So I went through all of the books that we've read this evening, and I made a list of all of the countries that we read novels from. It's a long list, but I'll just rattle it off real quick. So we have read, in the last 16 years in the Eclectic Shade Tree, novels by authors from the following countries: the United States, England, South Africa, Canada, Italy, Switzerland, Iceland, Australia, France, India, Colombia, Scotland, China, Russia, Israel, Portugal, Norway, Japan, Chile, Afghanistan, Argentina, and Spain. Maybe someday we'll have like an Eclectic Shade Tree wall map, and we can actually put little pins in all the places that we've read novels from, or short story collections from. So there it is, the book club tag. I'm not going to tag anyone because I'm not sure who among you is actually in a book club. But if you are, you know you are. And it'd be great, yeah, if you could do this tag and just let us know a little bit about that part of your reading life. I will return later in the week with my May wrap up, and maybe a 2-shelf tour as well. I haven't done one of those in a while. So as always, thanks for joining me. If you're interested in learning more about the book club, just ask me in the comments below, whatever questions on your brain. And if you're interested in maybe joining the book club, let me know that too. I'm always on the lookout for 1 or 2 new members. I like to kind of keep the membership around 10 or 12, and we're just below that right now. So we could stand to have 1 or 2 people added to our ranks. But yeah, I will see you all again soon, and happy reading.